everyone. You're probably wondering, hey, why are you in your bed? The reason I'm in my bed is because, you know, just girly things. I'm on my period and I really just want to, I can't continue the American accent. I really just want to curl up into a ball and then slowly disintegrate until I can't feel anything. But while I'm waiting for the paracetamol to kick in, I thought that I would make a video, you know, because like, what else would I do as a girl boss? Yeah, basically, I decided I would like to power through for once and actually put some more effort into my channel. I remember I started a series called Tete Tuesdays and I haven't done one in a while. I don't even know if I'm going to post this on Tuesday because I don't know when I'm posting for Thursday, so I might as well just post it on Thursday, but I don't really know. So today we're going to be talking about emotional unavailability. Obviously, I'm not a psychologist, you know. We're looking at it from my perspective, which is like, because I feel like a lot of the times when we talk about these things on YouTube, it's more so like how to deal with the emotionally unavailable person, as in obviously the other person you're trying to get to know or whatever. But like, no one ever talks about what to do when you're the emotionally unavailable person. This is such a mouthful. Emotionally unavailable. I don't want to be emotional. I don't want to be EU. No, that doesn't make sense either. Because I do want to be EU. I didn't really want Brexit to happen. I don't want to be emotionally unavailable, but here I am. I feel like I've already talked about love and like being terrible at it. So I already did a video on growing up ugly, and obviously, okay, let me not even say growing up ugly, okay, because everyone's beautiful in their own way, but I was not conventionally attractive when I was young. I mean, I'm not conventionally attractive now, but I mean, like, you know, everyone has the awkward stage, but my awkward stage was like a level deeper. You know how there's like different levels or different circles of hell? Yeah, mine was like a couple you know, lower. You know that so much of the way we act is kind of on autopilot, and it's the way we were socialized as kids or whatever. It's like affects how we behave in our daily life. So just me being, you know, undesirable from a young age, which obviously continued consistently, I wouldn't say that I felt confident in the way that I looked. I mean, I don't even feel like it now, but like, I don't feel specifically ugly, and that's only been recently. So like, unlearning that thing in my head that's naturally like, oh no, you can't go out of your way or show that you like someone because they're not gonna like you back. It's even more difficult in a predominantly white neighborhood, but let's not even get into that. So I think that I've just become kind of emotionally unavailable as a coping mechanism. I think what a lot of this stems from is like anxiety. It's really weird because from what I have seen, taking a literal quiz online, so like that doesn't prove anything, but when I took a quiz, I get that I have a secure attachment style every single time, okay? But I'm like, I can't tell if that's my logical brain being like, yeah, you know, like when I'm answering the questions, like, yeah, that's how my logic is, but is that how I feel? Like, is that my gut feeling? My gut instinct isn't to be totally secure with people. It's to be extremely anxious and believe that everyone hates me. My emotional unavailability comes from a kind of fear of losing control. I think that's like how a lot of things work with anxiety. Like, a whole lot of it is the fact that you're just so crippled by the fact that you are not in control at any point in your life. You think that you might be, but you never actually are, you know? And it's kind of scary. When it comes to people, even just like on a making friends kind of level, there is an element that you can't control. There's always a variable that you have to account for that you will not know, and you cannot control another person's actions. Like, you don't know what they're going to do before they do it. And that is so scary to me. And I don't even mean it on like a way that, yeah, someone could stab me. I mean, like, I don't know what a person's thinking. And even if a lot of the times I can read people's emotions well, it's still not the same. Like, I don't know what you're thinking. Little things like when you're kind of getting to know someone romantically, there's a lot of firsts that happen, and you can't just kind of stumble on your like new feet in this relationship by yourself. You have to be with another person. Do you know what I mean? And like, I have this fear of being perceived. She says that she talks literally to a camera to post to YouTube anyway. But like, I don't know. It's just really scary for me, for people to see me, if that makes sense. Like, see me. So what I've realized is that like, before anyone can even say anything to me and they can invite their like variable or unpredictability to the situation, I pre-reject myself. I was watching this TikTok and I can't even remember the exact phrasing that was used, but it was like, you would rather spend your time, like, you know, for example, with NCT, you'd rather be putting your time and energy into NCT, you know, or a fictional, you know, character or love interest than an actual real life human being, because there's no, like, there's nothing you have to worry about that. You are completely comfortable and you don't have to be vulnerable. When it comes to real life, I just reject myself. Like, when I was younger, and I did get rejected, you know, by my peers. So now, as a grown adult, I'm just the one rejecting myself because it's like a coping mechanism. It's just way easier, you know? Like, I'm like a porcupine. I don't actually remember how porcupines function, but I'm going to pretend that, like, you poke them and then they get spiky and roll into a ball and just run away, you know? Instead of them being like, oh, what are you poking me for? That's what I do. My coping mechanism is to just reject myself, take myself out of the equation so that you can't take me out of the equation, you know? And, you know, sometimes it's me projecting my own insecurities or just things that, you know, I hear from society subliminally. Whether it's like, so say my own insecurity could be my large forehead, or the fact that I'm not an extrovert. Like, it's one of the things where I worry that I just have no personality and I'm just not interesting at all because I'm not as, like, loud or, you know, extroverted. Or it could be things subliminally, like, let's say you go out with a group of friends, you are the friend that no one looks at and is kind of pushed to the sidelines, which I'm used to, it's not a big deal. But now it's not even a thing of, I can't tell if that's what's truly happening or if that's how I'm perceiving it, because that's the way my brain's been trained to see things now. Do you know what I mean? And then there's also the statistical aspect of it, which is something that honestly, it haunts me. Like, remember there was that survey and it was on, like, dating apps or whatever, and it was talking about how, like, black women are the least rated on the apps or just in general life and, like, surveys and stuff, and, you know, seen as the least desirable. And you can kind of see that in society in general. Like, there's a lot of, you know, erasure of black women, but also, like, taking away their femininity. And, you know, a lot of the times black women, especially dark-skinned black women, are not seen as beautiful, which is confusing because it will be the same white women who have literally gotten surgery to get black features will be seen as stunning. But then if you actually look at a black woman who naturally has those features, you're like, ew, I don't want any of that, you know? That triggers me a bit because you know what? It's like, yeah, I can work through my own insecurities, but then it's like, when you're girl, this honestly, I'm gonna put this onto my period because I'm, like, low-key trying to not get emotional. It's like, you can deal with, you know, personal insecurities about, like, your face, right? But there is a certain aspect that comes with being a black woman and just the way that black women are treated in society that is so demoralizing. And especially for a person that kind of overthinks everything, makes me want to just cut myself off and, like I said, roll into a ball and disappear. And there's, like, certain things, there's, like, high standards. Like, you can't just appear as your average self as a black woman and not expect to be desired, but you just wouldn't be. Whereas for a white woman, you can still turn up and be average and people will be like, oh yeah, like, she's a better me, you know? So it's difficult because there are some things that you can't just dispel with some affirmations. Right there in your face is the, you know, different prejudices and ideas and ways that people see black women that you just kind of have to deal with, you know? And I don't really know if I'm quite there yet, in terms of just being able to just walk the streets as myself, not even bothered about it, and not think about the fact that even people in my own race, even men in my own race, even black men do not even want to date black women, you know what I mean? And I'm like, so for a overthinking queen like me, it just makes me think I'm gonna die alone. And I know that's so dramatic, but it's also like, it could happen. Your girl's not out here being, you know, stunning. She's not really out there being above a 7. You know, as all the other prejudices and things that you have to deal with. It's like, what if I actually do dial in? What if I do? And then if it's not because of that, it's because I'm going to block myself off because I'm out here being emotionally unavailable.
Yeah, double homicide. Bitch.
And that's another thing. What if we do dial in? Then what? Like, it's technically not a big deal. Like, I am so accustomed to being by myself, and I almost prefer being by myself. Whenever I talk to my friends that have been in a relationship or are in a relationship, like, oh yeah, like, you want to spend time with, like, your partner or whatever, like, all the time. I'm like, I don't know. Like, honestly, even my best friends, I need space. If not just because I get kind of drained, it's like, after a while, you begin to annoy me. You know what I mean? And I don't know, I'm just too used to being alone. And then I'm like, sometimes honestly I'm like, you know what, if I dial in, it doesn't matter. Like, maybe I'm meant to be the rich auntie. Like, that's kind of a vibe, okay? Like, I can really see that for myself. I'm the rich auntie that travels the world. She comes and is bougie, buys herself a sweet gift for her nieces and nephews. Like, I can do that. That could be my role. But then other days I'm like, did you see Tom and Zendaya? I'm sorry, this is like unrelated but also related. And I'm like, Tom and Zendaya, and then I can't even get nobody, like, what the fuck? Basically. So I'm kind of hovering between those two things. And so I've become so good at hanging out with myself that I don't have to think about how I appear to other people. I don't have to think about the person that I am in other people's eyes, right? And so then when I do hang out with other people, I'm like, this is kind of ghetto. Like, I actually have to address the fact that I am perceived in a way that I can't imagine or predict, you know? I could come across like an absolute, don't even know what the word is, and I wouldn't be able to know, you know? And so what I realized is there's a kind of emotional unavailability. There's a kind of emotional unavailability there. Just in general, but also, like, basically the kind of cycle is I am so great being alone, and I'm like, I don't want to be romantically involved, because every time I do, then I get really anxious and nervous because I start to think about the future instead of right here, right now. Like, I can't do that. So, like, you could talk to me for one day and I'm like, oh, but I don't really know if, like, I don't really know if I could, like, show it to my parents. But it's been like one day, do you know what I mean? And then I psych myself out before I can even get to know the person. Or I, like, over romanticize the person, but I still don't speak to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, there was this stupid, honestly, when I think about it, they may not say he was stupid, but, like, I'm like, you made up his personality completely in your head because you only had, like, 2 conversations with him. There was, like, a guy that I spoke to, and, like, we, you know, like, when you just click with someone immediately, and then I ghosted him. But I was like, wow, he was really cute, and, like, he had a little eyebrow piercing and, like, curly hair, and, like, he was from, like, Ireland, yeah. And I was like, that's a bit of me, that's really a bit of me. I reconnected, and I was like, oh, this is not really a vibe. I have nothing to say to you anymore. So this is the thing, there's a certain unpredictability that appears. I'm either like, damn, I'm lonely, like, I kind of want to talk to people, or I'm like, you know what, no, I'm a girl boss, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start this conversation, I'm gonna get to know people. 2 days later, I'm like, nope, don't want to do that. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to have to address the fact that this is, like, a slightly romantic connection. I don't want to do that. I would rather die alone. And add on top of all that, there's a kind of unpredictability that comes with being a person that deals with depression, because you can be functioning fine, okay? Fine. Like, life is great for, like, 2 days. And then all the days after that, you're like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to exist on this plane of life. I would like to simply be alone and play Pokemon and not have to talk to a human being ever again. And it's like, how can you build connections if you literally cannot maintain a consistent, like, aim for the connection? You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous to the point where now I just cut myself off from it because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. by me just being so unpredictable, you know? And it's a deep rooted like anxiety, but then when I go to like journal about it, my mind goes blank, which usually doesn't happen because, as you can tell by this video, I talk a lot, I write a lot too, and yet there's like a block there that I don't know how to unblock. So I'm just out here being like, I'm just gonna dodge this, honestly. I'm gonna just leave this behind. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna pretend that like, I can't see that. I'm gonna pretend that it's not there. I don't know why I keep doing that, and my mouth goes, I don't want to have to think about it. Anyway, so what I've come to understand is that staying single is the way that I maintain control. Like, nobody can manipulate me, my life, or my peace if they aren't there to begin with. And so as a coping mechanism, it's like, why even add that unpredictability to the equation? So yeah, I don't know if anything I said like made any sense or had even a, you know, consistent line of truth or just anything I was meaning to say. But basically, yeah, that's how I'm feeling. That's how emotional unavailability manifests in me. If you deal with this, how does it manifest for you? Or if you could relate to anything, I guess that's a pro. I am going to go play Pokemon now. I hope that you enjoyed this video and give it a thumbs up, you know, tell the algorithm that you guys are still here. Goodbye, okay? Clearly I'm delirious, but at least the paracetamol kicked in, okay?